Hello, everyone watching. Welcome to another episode where we are having a conversation with the one and only man of fire, John Fire himself. He's a pharmacist. He's also an artist, and yeah, he will give us a bit of detail in in the rest of the things that he's doing. So, Mr. John Fire, welcome. I wish we could have like that sound and make some sound like. But yeah, welcome, sir. It's an honor to have you. I think I knew you when I was still at College of Medicine. I actually didn't know that you were from Com. I actually thought you were just a minister of the gospel.
Wow.
Yeah. And then someone told me that, no, he's actually a pharmacist. He was here. I'm like, oh, okay. It's so weird because you would imagine, you usually assume that a lot of artists don't go through the academics. And when someone is juggling both, it's very strange to know. So let us start with that introductory remarks. Tell us who you are or what you are as an artist and a brand, and also the other different positions that you hold.
All right, thank you very much. I'm excited about this. So John Fire is John Masienda Ferankande. I was born John Masienda Ferankande, 1987, 2nd of April. I was born to the family of the late Mark Ndafirankande and Stella Ndafirankande. Yeah, my dad was a civil engineer by profession, and my mom was a teacher. And I have 4 siblings, so we are 5 in total.
Right.
Yeah, I have 2 sisters and 2 brothers. Right now I'm married to Dalitso, my wife. We're clocking 8 years this year.
No,
yes, and I've got 2 children. Firstborn is Micah, and secondborn is Gianna, boy and a girl.
Gianna.
So a test of both worlds. Yes, Gianna.
Test of both worlds.
Test of both worlds.
Right.
Yes. So I think in brief, that's me. And as you have said, that I'm a pharmacist by profession. Yeah. I graduated with 2012 College of Medicine, so I've been working for almost 10 years or so, and I'm a musician as well, but I've done music for a longer time than pharmacy.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay, let's first of all, let's start with the name.
Yeah.
Let's debunk the name.
Yeah.
Because even for me, when I first heard the name, I was like, okay, Fire. Is it from here or is it from outside the country?
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
Okay, so when I was just starting out as a musician, I was going to sing at a certain church. So, I had released my album, so I needed to start promoting it.
Right.
So someone booked a church for me. So I went to meet the pastor to tell him that tomorrow I'm the one who is coming to sing and all kind of stuff. So he asked me what my name was. So I said, my name is Masie Ndafirankande. So he was Nigerian. So he didn't know. So he asked someone, he said, what does Masie mean? So I told him Masie means something like an orphan. So he's like, no. I'm not having someone with that name on my pulpit.
Yeah.
You need to change that name. So I said, okay, no. So his name was Paul, Paul Olubo. So he says, you're going to be Paul. So I said, no, I can't be Paul because one of my brothers is also Paul.
Yeah.
So I said, but I've got a middle name, John. So he said, okay, all right. So yes, we'll be calling you John. So are you going to be John of water baptism or Holy Ghost fire baptism?
Oh, wow.
So I said, I'm going to be John of Holy Ghost fire baptism. So from today, you're going to be John Fire.
Wow.
So that's how the name started.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that is amazing.
Exactly.
And I've been to places where you're ministering before, with music that is.
Yeah.
And I can testify, it is indeed a baptism of fire. Your sermons are usually so well set, so well balanced.
Yeah.
Your entire team and just the aspect of how you do it and how you deliver. Yeah, your name indeed testifies that you have an element of fire in there.
I'm very glad to hear that, Edgar, and I'm thankful for that. And actually, just to comment on that, I really believe that what people call you begins to manifest. Yeah. Because I said from the time that people started calling me John Fire, it's been like that.
Yeah.
So
are you known as John Fire at work as well?
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
really?
at work. And I remember I put the name in my CV. So for my first job interview, they saw the name Fire and they asked me the exact same question as in the interview. It's like, why Fire? So I had to explain the story again. So it's quite interesting.
It's an amusing story to relate to people.
Yeah. Thank you.
So speaking of which, your journey through pharmacy and through music. Take us through how that was like for you to decide. I know you're saying you've done music longer than you've done your own career of pharmacy. Or which one is your career exactly? Is it both of them, or is it one and the one gets in the way of the other, or are you married to both of them? And that's the first question. And then secondly, what transpired to inspire you, first of all, in music, to start in music, and secondly, what inspired you to pursue pharmacy?
All right, thank you very much. I think I can say pharmacy is my career, music is my calling.
Nice.
So I think I can just separate them. They are like that. And so I started off, for example, in music, I started off in primary school. So I was staying with my brother-in-law for some time. I think it was in Dedza. So he used to listen to a lot of music. And he bought me a tape that time. Those are the days of tapes. There were no CDs.
Yeah.
He bought me a tape by one of the oldest Malawian musicians.
How long ago is this?
That's a long time. I was 10 years old that time. Okay. So that's 1997.
Wow. I wasn't born there.
You weren't born there. Yeah, that's a long time ago.
It is.
So he bought me a tape because my name, as I said, was Masie. So he bought me a tape entitled Umasie by Charles Sineta.
Oh.
Yeah, so I don't know if you know Charles Sineta, but he's one of the veteran musicians from Balaga. So I used to listen to that tape. It was a very nice album. So I used to listen to it. And then he loved music. He bought many more other tapes. So I would listen to the music all the time. Whenever there's a latest album, he would buy it. So growing up with him, I was so introduced to music, the likes of Lucius Banda and things. So I started taking Lucius Banda's music. I remember, and I started playing it, hitting these zidebes, these teens and stuff like that. Yes. Then I remember in 2001, that's when I released my first song. 2001, I released my first song. So I had an uncle who was staying outside the country in South Africa. I sent him the song in 2002. And when he listened to it, he was very impressed. So he said, this is very good music. This music is very good. But I was very young. I was maybe 13.
So was this like studio recorded?
Yes, it was studio recorded. Yes. So he's like, man, this is good. So I had an opportunity to go to South Africa on one of my holidays when I was in secondary school, and I met him, and I met a certain veteran musician, Ali Kat. He's late now, but he helped me a lot. He groomed me, he taught me how to do voices, and when I was in South Africa, I recorded my first album. Yeah, in around 2005, 2006, I recorded my first album. And then came back, but I didn't promote it because of school. And I went to school and things. So that's how I started with the music. Right. Now going on to pharmacy, I've always wanted to work in the health field, But so my dad wanted me to be a medical doctor,
right? But
I didn't want to be a medical doctor. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do something to do with health, but I didn't want to do medicine because I felt medicine was too long a course.
Yeah.
It was going to impede my music. That's how I felt. So I said, so we had a struggle, but I thank God for my sister, the firstborn in my family. She's the one who said, but there's a course called pharmacology. She was calling it pharmacology. And so I was like, when I inquired more about it, then I discovered it's pharmacy. And pharmacy was just it was now 2 years old in Malawi by the time I was enrolling. That's in 2008. So I enrolled at College of Medicine for pharmacy. So that's how I got myself into pharmacy. Yeah, because I wanted to do something to do with health, but now I didn't want to do a medical doctor. I thought it takes so many years to specialize, blah, 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 blah. I don't want to spend most of my life in class. That's how I felt, So that's why I branched off to pharmacy.
Nice.
Amazing. Exactly.
So you recorded your first album in South Africa?
In South Africa, yes.
How did you manage to pay for that?
That's incredible. Passion is amazing because, I mean, if you really want to do something, passion is amazing. So I thank God for my dad because I remember that was in 2005. I had finished my O-levels. So he sent me to South Africa. He said, okay, I'll send you to South Africa. And he gave me some pocket money. He said, you should go visit your relatives and stuff like that. And he gave me some pocket money to buy things, to buy clothes. So I kept that money. I didn't buy anything. So I went there. I used that money to pay for a studio.
Wow.
In South Africa, in Kempton Park. And I recorded 5 songs. That's how much my money could afford. It wasn't one of the biggest studios. It was a street studio, but I mean, in South Africa, it was still ahead. Exactly, that time, Then when I came back, I was at Kamuzu Academy that time. I had a group of friends who I was so close to. So I told them my vision. That, guys, I want to... And they knew my music and they were my fans as well. So they're like, we're going to help you raise the money. So I remember every evening we used to collect bottles, empty bottles, and would put them in crates and would sell them.
Wow.
So they would help me collect the bottles, sell them. That's how we raised money. And then I went to my sister, my second born sister, Mrs. Hara. I told her my vision as well. She gave me some money, her and her husband, topped up. Then I told my dad, said, I've managed to raise this money. I want to go and finish my album. So he gave me money for transport.
To go back
to South Africa, yes.
To go and finish your album?
To go and finish my album in South Africa. Then I went back and I finished it.
Wow.
He came back, That's how I did it.
Do you still have your first album?
Yes.
Is it on public platforms?
Yes, it's on Spotify. It's on.
We should definitely share a link to this
video.
Yeah,
definitely. It's there.
Some people should check it out.
And some of the songs, and Wandilenga, my song. It's from the first album. Actually, my first album.
That is from the first album.
It's from the first album. It's a very old song.
But it sounds so good.
Thank you.
It sounds so good.
That's for the first album.
Wow.
Yeah.
How many albums have you recorded so far?
So 3. I've recorded 3 albums.
3 albums.
Yes.
Do you have other singles or features?
Yes. I have other singles as well and some collaborations I've done. Yes.
So how would you say it's been marrying the two? Like you said, one is your calling, the other one is your passion.
Yes.
Is it?
Yes. One is my calling, the other one is my career.
Okay, career and one is your calling.
Yes.
How have you managed to marry the two? Because I've been following you for quite a while.
Yeah.
And I see some places where you perform.
Yes.
You will be there for work-related things.
Yes.
And you will also be performing.
Yes.
How does that work?
Okay. It's a good question. I think it's about managing your time. I always say that if you love something, you create time for it. There are people who love to drink alcohol. They are chief executives. They are very busy, but they always find time for the club. To pass by the pub, whether it's an hour or two. So it's the same thing with me, because like for music, I practice the guitar almost every day. And how do I do it?
Really?
Yes. Sometimes at lunchtime, my friends are going out to have lunch. I'll have lunch in my office. Quickly, I eat for 20 minutes. The next 40 minutes, I'm on my guitar. I'm creating something, you know.
Yeah.
So, but I'm also keeping an 8 to 5 job. So at 5 o'clock, I go home. Sometimes maybe with my son, we can do a few things on the keyboard, some things like those. Yeah. And now for the shows, it's just about planning. How much can I take in a month? So, for example, at least I do 1 or 2 performances a month.
Yes.
So that is good enough with my work schedule, so that I can have enough time to, because doing a concert is not easy, because you have to practice. You have to what you're going to do and things like that. So I just schedule, put it in my schedule and make sure it is manageable within my career schedule as well. Right. Yeah, and also family on the side. Yes.
Very important. And so are you training your son to also be an artist?
Yes, and I think...
You wanted to flow through the...
Exactly. And to be honest with you, I think he's a better singer than me.
Really?
Yes, because he's doing some... I can see when he sings, he's able to do some technical things that are not easy, but at his age, I'm like, there's a future in here.
Yes. Wow. So would you love your son if he pursued music as a career, and that's it?
I would support him.
Yeah?
I would support him.
Wow.
Yeah, I would support him.
That is amazing.
I would support him.
So you don't want him to be a doctor like how your dad wanted you to be, or
no, I mean, there's definitely a path that is already designed in him. I mean, God has already put something in him.
Yeah.
So I see some talents in him. He sings, he draws, he's a very good artist. Wow. But I know he's also passionate about trees and natural resources. So maybe he will be someone who do environmental science, or I don't know what he's going to do, but in whatever he does, I'll support him.
Wow.
Maybe together with the art side or whatever he does, I'll support him.
I think we should have him on the next episode.
I think so too.
An interview with that would be nice. Yeah?
Exactly.
Yeah, and you were talking about practicing the guitar.
Yeah.
I wish we had gotten the memo before. We would have asked you to bring it.
I was thinking of bringing the guitar.
That would have been nice.
Yeah, I was thinking I'd have played. Exactly.
Just play a little something.
Actually, I was thinking about bringing the guitar.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I didn't take it.
Okay, next time.
Next time, yeah.
Yeah, I'll make sure I put that in consideration next time when we're inviting you.
Okay.
There should be a guitar performance.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And talking of your performances, I've noticed each one of your performances is so meticulous. You know, I know you play yourself, and then I don't know, there's this thing that you usually press on the ground, and then you keep playing like that. Take us through the whole process of practicing to performance. How is it like?
Yeah, so I like good sound. You know, I like good sound. I think it's because I've followed the late Wambali Nkandawile for a long, you know. So Wambali was someone who he wanted good sound. And before each and every concert, he was there making sure that the sound engineers are balancing things and types. So as when you talk about being meticulous, I think maybe I might have taken that from him.
From him.
Yeah, so I also
have
like...
you met him in person, by the way?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, I've actually performed in front of him before.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and he has danced Wondilenga. That's a moment I always cherish. I wish it was on camera.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
but
it wasn't.
No, it wasn't on camera, unfortunately. But I've performed before him. Yeah, so he taught me that aspect of being meticulous. So the sound must be good, and people have to be treated to very good sound, you know. And also it shows respect to your audience.
Wow.
Yes. So actually, now the practicing, there's one of the guys on my band. I call him Anthony Cipriano. He always says the same thing. He says, you know, John, you always insist on practice, even if it is something that we already know. I will still say, let's practice, because I want it to be full of quality and people to be treated to good music. And also, I don't want to take it for granted that, okay, I know these things. You know, you can...
So let me just do it.
Let me just do it.
Yeah.
You know, so that is what it's inside me. I just like good sound, good quality. Even when I go to listen to other musicians, I want good music, good sound. So I should also give the same. Yes.
Wow. That's amazing. And you have a band in place that is it a band that is full-time? Or
no,
is it on a
it's not full time.
Gig based?
It's on a gig base. But we've been together for so long that it's almost becoming like a band on a full time. But we haven't made all those formalities.
If that's not too much detail to get into, how do you charge and how do you maneuver around? If someone gets in touch with you and says, you know, there is a gig here, you can come and perform. How does that work?
Yeah, so we charge based on what the person, of course, I've got written down prices, fixed prices, and then, so we have, whereby we have a full band. So this is like a minimum of a 5-man band, where you have a full drummer, you have a keyboard player, a bass guitar, a lead guitar, and myself as a lead vocalist, maybe also on my acoustic guitar or just a lead vocalist and maybe some backup. So that has got a price for this. It's a bit pricey. And then we have the second category, which is an acoustic set.
Right.
So I just have me on the acoustic guitar, and I have one on the bass or lead, and then another one on the percussions.
Right.
So it's a 3-man piece. So that one has got also, it's like a medium price. And then the least one is maybe either one pill, so I can just go there as solo with my guitar and what you call this, and sometimes I can bring in a percussionist. So all those are in their own prices. So that's how I charge. And normally I charge per hour. Per hour, yes. Okay. So we charge per hour, but there's always room for negotiations. In Malawi, we negotiate.
Definitely. Coming to which, I don't want to put words into your mouth.
Yeah.
But of the many things that you were doing in the positions that you're holding, what would you say are some of the biggest challenges that you've encountered? But also to just relay lessons from there. What are some of the things that you've learned to say, okay, you know what? I face these challenges because of this, and if I were to go back, I would do things differently this way.
Yeah, so life is not ideal. That's the biggest challenge that we all face.
Yeah.
And for someone like me who maybe I'm doing a number of things,
Yeah.
you know, I'm doing music, I'm doing pharmacy, I have a family,
Exactly.
I have a ministry,
Yeah.
you know. So to connect these things, it would have been easy if it would just move smoothly, but it's not like that. So,
Yeah.
for instance, you do a concert,
Yeah.
and you invest some money in it.
Yeah.
You're planning that, you know, I've booked this place. I'm targeting 100 people.
Yeah.
You know, 10,000 kwacha each or 5,000 kwacha, and in the end, you find that you have friends at church, your friends at your workplace. They promise you, oh, we're going to be there.
Yeah.
Don't worry, you count on us. All that kind of things. And then you go there, you only have 20 people. So that's 20% of what you were projecting.
You were aiming at.
Exactly.
Yeah. And your money has already been.
Your money has been there. You have a band, you have to pay. You have all these costs you have to pay, but you have to move on. So there's that challenge. And also, I remember when I was starting off as a musician, when I went to South Africa, I had some guys who promised me. They were like, you know, this music you're doing is world music. That's what they called it. So we're going to find you a record company that is going to get you blown. So, you know, keep this music. When you go back to Malawi, promote it, but we will have the selling rights, for distribution rights. So I came back to Malawi and I started promoting my music on the radios. I don't know if you know or remember DJ Lomwe. I don't know. There was a DJ called DJ Lomwe.
No.
He was very good.
You know him?
Yeah. He was very good, actually. He represented, at one point, he represented Malawi in the Big Brother house.
Oh.
Yes. Okay. I don't know if you remember that show.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So DJ Lomwe, I had an interview with him. So he loved my music.
Wow.
So he started promoting it. And that time, we used to have OG Issa. It was OG Issa used to buy music from us, and then he would distribute it. So Lomwe said, OG Issa is going to buy this. So he said, I want to take it to OG. And I said, no, you can't take it to OG because there are people in South Africa who say they should wait for them. I missed that opportunity because I was waiting on people. But you know what happened? The people never showed up till tomorrow. The South African people.
And then you missed this one.
I missed this one because of them.
No.
You know? So those are challenges because sometimes people promise you things and they don't fulfill it.
Yeah.
You know? And I was so young and naive, I couldn't see that from people. You know, I didn't take my opportunities. And I lived in regret for a long time. You know, I lived in regret for a long time. But, you know, he has to move on. And sometimes another challenge is that, of course, you as a human being, you just get tired sometimes. It can be emotionally tiring, it can be psychologically tiring.
You get drained.
You get drained, you know, and it's not easy because work has its own challenges. The more things you do, the more challenges you're also incurring as well. Exactly. Yeah, so I think in general, I can just put it that way.
So what are some of the things that you learned from there that you would do differently?
Yes,
if
so
you were to go back.
The first thing is, when you're planning, expect the best, but prepare for the worst. Okay?
I should clap hands. Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So you must think in all scenarios. I'll give you an example, as I've already said. You're planning a music concert. That we are going to this place. But also you have to be realistic, okay? We are going to have 50 people that are going to come. But you must already have enough money. Don't go into debts and things like those. You have enough money that if it doesn't work, I mean, I would have lost my money, but no one will be coming knocking on my door tomorrow and start saying, oh, where's my money? You owe us money. You know?
That's double the trouble.
Exactly. Yeah. So my wife knows, and I thank God for her support. Each time we're doing a concert, we have raised enough money that even if we don't sell a ticket, we have paid the band, we would have paid everything. At least we have created memories and things like those, you know. So everything is settled. So as I've said, number two is that you might be a good man who fears God, who loves God, but not everybody is like you. You know, because sometimes you always think it's very easy for a good man to be exploited.
Yeah.
You know, because sometimes you think you are so naive. You think everybody is like you.
Yes.
So like those things that people promise me, you know, we are going to do this. People can promise you stuff and they never fulfill it. Even I remember I saw this a lot even when I was getting married. You know, people would promise you, I would do this for your wedding.
This for you.
And then
wedding day comes and you're all by yourself.
You're all by yourself. And if you are naive, you start making budgets based on people's promises.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
And on your wedding day, whilst everybody is dancing there, you're thinking about the bills that you have to send because people cannot get away. So those are the lessons of people. You know, don't be naive. Okay, always be balanced in the way you deal with people. You know, and see things the way they are. Have that kind of discernment.
This is not part of where I wanted the discussion to go to, but you've brought it up. So pardon me for pursuing it. You know, don't be naive. And you're talking about Christians specifically.
Yes,
you know, to say you can be a God-fearing man, but other people are not like that. And I've seen this, especially in the Christian circles, that it keeps happening over and over again. What do you think? What do you think we're getting wrong? Because I don't know, and correct me if I'm wrong, but we have equated meekness to being naive and being taken advantage of, and I don't know if it's a misunderstanding or misconstruction of where Jesus says, look, if someone wrongs you, don't pay it back. If they slap you, turn the other cheek, and all of those things. So it always seems as if us as Christians, we don't have a fighting chance. I don't know if you know people like Andrew Tate, but he's a famed influencer on social media. And one of the things that he was saying in one of his recent interviews, so at first he was atheist, then he turned to Christian, and then now he's turned to Muslim. So when they were asking him about his journey of faith, they were saying, okay, what happened? Take us through that. And one of the things that he said was, I want to worship a God or to follow a God who can be feared. And the Christian God is no longer feared in society today. If you see on social media or any other platform, people are tearing Bibles, nothing is going to happen to them. Do the same with the Quran, and they're going to come for you. So I want to pursue a God, or I want to worship a God who can be feared. And that was his take, you know, and that touches a bit about what we're talking about. What do you think is going wrong in the Christian circle where we're getting this aspect entirely wrong?
Very good question. And that's very interesting. I think it's because of the unbalanced gospel. Unbalanced concept.
Preach. Here's the minister.
Unbalanced gospel, and because Paul says, I've taught you the full counsel of God.
Yes.
So I think where we're getting it wrong as Christians is that we don't teach the full counsel of God. So, let's talk about Jesus. Jesus says that if someone slaps you on the left cheek, turn the right. Okay. You have to know that the gospel is one, but there are also transitional moments within, the gospel. So that's Jesus preaching. But you go to Paul, he's preaching to one official, and besides the official, there's someone who is using magic to steal the faith of the official. Paul turns to that person and declares that this guy should be blind. Is that turning a cheek?
No.
That's passing judgment.
Yes.
So the gospel, Jesus in one place is called what? The lamb that was slain. What's the character of a lamb? It's meek. But now in the book of Revelation, Jesus is called the lion of a tribe of Judah. What's the character of a lion? A lion is aggressive.
Exactly.
You see? So Jesus, the same one who came as a lamb, will come as a judge. So the same God who loves is the same God who punishes. In the book of Romans, it says that if you are in authority, you've got the sword to punish evil. So if you are good, but you don't punish evil, you're no longer good. One way of being good is to punish evil.
Wow.
You see? Yes. So if one way of being good is to punish evil. So the thing is, we have not taught the gospel, the gospel in its totality. So coming to that is that we need to have that sort of a balance. That's why I've always believed in this thinking that I love it when my children go out there and experience the real world. You know, there are certain battles that I'll fight for my children, but certain battles I'll let them. They'll have to fight for on their own, because they have to know the reality of life out there, how people think, how people manipulate, so that these characters in them should come out, both as a character of a dove and a character of being smart as a serpent, because that's what Jesus said. He says you should be and this is Jesus now teaching. He says that you should be what? Meek as a dove, but I should be as cunning as a serpent. So think about that. There are situations where you have to be meek and say, this battle is not worth fighting. But there are other situations where you have to be cunning and say, no, I'll rise up and say, no, I'm not tolerating this nonsense to happen. And God has given those abilities inside us. So we need to teach the full gospel. We need to teach the full counsel, because if we don't, then things are going to go wrong. Like even in our nation, there are many things that are going wrong. There's corruption, there's what. But Christians are there. Why? We're not punishing evil. That's why evil is continuing.
So how do we punish evil? Where do we even start from as Christians? Where do we do?
Okay.
Is it because I've noticed a lot of times when things are happening, Christians say we battle through prayer.
Yes.
So we're not going to be involved in government. We're not going to be involved in any of these hierarchies in society. We will pray. Yes. So how do we punish evil? Would that be your recommendation?
There is a part that prayer has. You know, prayer is like the generator, something that generates the power, but it doesn't end there. So after you've generated the power, you need to go now and do some work. So after we've won in the spirit, we need to come and take position. So what we need to do is to have strategies. You know, as Christians, we need to have strategies. We need to think and say, how are we going to be effective? Now, the way of how we're going to be effective is we need to take up positions. We need to take up positions. Let me tell you something. The word church, the original word church means that you are taking people from different fields in life. That's the original meaning of the word church. Take people from army, people from different careers, and bringing them together like a group of people. It's more like a militant word, that you're taking people from different endeavors of life and putting them together. So that's what church should be. We should strategically think and say we need to take position in politics. We need to take positions in industry. We need to take positions in all these things, because until we get those positions, we can't have influence. And if we don't have influence, we can't punish evil.
No, we can't.
We can't.
No.
So we need to have strategy of how we should take these positions and have influence.
So speak to me as if you were sitting across the so-called Andrew Tate.
Yes.
If you were sitting across him right now, and you heard this view that I turned from atheist to Christian to Muslim because the God of the Christians is being undermined, while the God of the Muslims is aggressive, and I want to follow a God that is aggressive and a God that can be respected. What would you say to a person?
I don't think it's about the God of the Muslims being aggressive or more than the God of a Christian. It's about the followers. I think it's the followers of the God of the Muslims who have portrayed to be more aggressive than the God, the other side. So what I would say is, what that attitude means is, to me, I don't support the theory of defending God, because God is big enough to defend himself. Because you can't defend God because you can't fully understand him. You can, and because you can't fully understand him, you can't fully explain him. So because he is God, and if he is bigger than you, he should defend you rather than you defending him. So for me, Christianity invites God to defend you in your circumstances. So for me, if their enemies trying to deal with my life, I'll invoke the power of God through faith for God to come into the situation and defend me. And there are many examples in the Bible of how God defended his people. And even up to today, God still defends his people. There are many testimonies. So because of that, he is big enough. We don't need to go and show ourselves to be aggressive to defend him. Rather, faith should invoke him to defend us. And that's what I think true Christianity is, whereby we have to now have violent faith to believe in a God who can come into our situation and defend us against the evil. And I'm telling you the truth, God does that. It's there in the scripture. You can see Elisha, surrounded by the army of the Syrians. Elijah called fire, and fire came.
Yeah.
You talk of Paul and Silas. They were locked up in the prison. They give praise, and violent earthquake comes, and they are let loose.
We've forgotten those things.
Those things are real. They're in the New Testament. And he is a God who can defend himself. And let me tell you something. God he has wrath as well. Ananias and Sapphira. It's a New Testament. Now look at Acts chapter number 12. The church, Herod was killing the church. He killed James, and he also took Peter. He wanted to kill Peter. The church began to pray. What happened? Peter was released supernaturally by an angel. A few verses later in the same chapter, Herod was struck by an angel and he died.
Yeah.
So God can defend himself if we believe in him according to his word. So we don't need to be aggressive, to fight people, to beat people, to be violent, to show that our God is like this so people can feel. What we need to do is to believe him and to let him show up and say, God, you are big enough. You can defend yourself. Intervene in our situation here. And I'm telling you, God does come into the situation.
Wow, amazing. Someone actually said, God is like a lion.
Yeah.
You don't need to defend a lion, just leave the cage open.
Exactly.
And it will defend itself.
Exactly.
So there he has it, Andrew Tate. For assumption that he watches it, that's his answer right here.
Exactly.
And you said something which was very interesting as well.
Yeah.
You were talking about there will be other battles that you will have to fight on behalf of your sons.
Yes.
And then there will be other battles that you will have to allow your sons to fight on their own.
Yeah.
Sort of like the story of the prodigal son.
Yes.
Where this father who clearly knew what would become of his son if he went out there to the world with all that wealth. But when the son came to him with the full knowledge, the full scope of what the outcome would be, the father, regardless, said, yeah, sure, I will give you the money. You can go. On the assumption that, okay, if he dies, then that's okay. But if he comes back alive, he would have learned a lot. And he will have a degree that is more than what he can be given in the school systems.
That's true.
You have a son and a daughter.
Yeah.
Doesn't it worry you or bother you when you think of that type of concept of sending your child into the wilderness, into the unknown? Doesn't it worry you to say, what if they don't come back? Or what if they come back and they are totally damaged beyond recognition and you can't even uphold them anymore?
That's a good question. Right. So what comforts me is Proverbs 22 verse 6 says, train a child in a way he should go. And when he is old, he will not depart from it. It's almost like the Bible is guaranteeing you. It doesn't say if he is old, he will, it says when he is old, he will what? He'll not depart from it. So you see, there's power in a seed, in a seed that you plant.
Yeah.
So what I need to be concerned about is what seed am I planting in him? So if I plant the right seed in him or her, for my daughter, it doesn't matter where she goes and how long she stays there. She may make mistakes, which is normal for everybody.
Yes.
Or he may make mistakes, which is over. But if that seed of righteousness is inside her, it will still keep her in the path. She will come back to the path.
Wow.
He will come back to the path and say,
That is so interesting.
exactly. Yeah. So what you plant as a father or as a parent in the home is very important, and especially at an early age. So it's a guarantee that when they grow up, they will still remember that. They will come back. So it's difficult to remove that seed because it's buried inside. So whatever happens here, it's on the surface. It will not remove the seed that is inside. Yeah.
Which is exactly the depiction of what happens with the prodigal son.
Yes.
Because
You see?
in the end, he still goes back to...
And I see, you look at his story.
Yeah.
It says he came back to himself. No one preached to him.
Wow.
And so he preached to himself.
Yeah.
He had daughter call for himself. He asked a daughter call for him by himself and came back. He thought about himself. You see? So
And
that's
then
the power of a
repented
seed.
and went back.
Yeah, I'm sure he had a good relationship with his father. There are things that his father planted in him. That one day made him to remember that, this is not life. I need to go back. Yeah.
And what do you think? Do you think we're doing justly as Christians towards that regard?
No.
Of allowing people to make mistakes and fail and then be drawn back?
I don't think so. I'll take it from several angles. First of all, I think even from the family side, I don't think we are investing enough in our children to plant the right seeds. But again, even in the church, as you're saying that when someone else from the church is making mistakes, I think we are quick to throw stones at them.
Yeah.
We have forgotten the power of that seed of righteousness that is inside them.
Yeah.
You know, so if a Christian is making mistakes, we are quick to condemn, we are quick to judge. So what we're doing, we're just suppressing that seed of righteousness. But I'm telling you, even if a child of God is doing the worst things, but if the seed of righteousness is in them, my friend, it's very easy to get them back. As long as we welcome them in the right way, you know, we cover them up. So I think we're not doing enough because, as someone said, that Christians are the only soldiers who finish up their colleague when he's injured. Instead of putting them, you know, in movies, when they're injured, when someone is injured, they will try their best. They will try their best.
But Christians finish
They finish them. My friend, you are delaying us. Bam, you know.
Which is supposed to be the opposite.
It's supposed to be the opposite. Because the soldiers, they try their best. They put him on the shoulder. They run. They get them back home alive. So we are not doing. We need to change on that. Yes.
Awesome. So extremely profound things and learning a lot. Going back to your field, what are some misconceptions that you would like to debunk and provide alternative truth to? So, having gone through it, what are some misconceptions that you say, I don't think this is true. I think this is hugely assumed.
Yeah, I think I'll speak like an artist.
Yes.
I think one of the things, especially in this part of the world, is I've heard a number of people. I was in Mombasa, I think a couple of weeks ago, and I went there for...
You performed there?
Yes. So I went there for work, but I had a chance to do an impromptu performance. And someone said, of course, I appreciate them because it's part of a compliment, but also it showed me as a misconception that they said, that was a great performance. If science does not work, you know, you should do music. For me, for me, I was thinking, if music does not work, then I should do science. Okay, but what I'm trying to say is, sometimes people think like doing music, art, is something that is for people who have failed in life and they failed school, you know, so they should do music.
Yes.
It's not supposed to be that way. We think that our gifts are hobbies, but not investments. You know?
Wow.
Our gifts are investments, they're not hobbies. You know, they are big investments.
Yes.
You are in all over the world, artists are doing great things.
They are.
You know, and I think that's one of the things that people need to change their mindset. And you asked me a question that if your son or daughter wanted to be an artist, would you allow them to do it? Yes. Yes, for me, it's a definite yes. Because to me, art is a good profession as being an engineer or a lawyer or a pharmacist or whatever. It's just how well it is managed. It's the management of that thing. What the system you build around it is what makes it to succeed or not. Yeah, so I think it's one of those misconceptions that I would like us to deal with, even as a nation. We have not invested in talents.
No, we haven't.
You know, we think of white collar people as the people who are, you know, there, the nobles. But we look at people with talents as, okay, you know, but we need to change that. These professions can also do good for the nation and also for the individual. So that's one of the things I would like to talk about.
What are the qualities that you think set you apart from other artists or other musicians as a performer? What are the qualities, not just for you, but that would set apart a great artist?
If you listen to John Fire's music, it will be difficult for you to say, this guy does his music like so and so.
Yes. Yeah.
I can tell you the people who have inspired me, but I don't sound very close to them.
Yes.
You know. So what I'm saying is my music is unique. It's one thing that I have heard from people over and over again, that your music is unique. Your music is unique. So I think I've got my identity that sets me apart. So that makes me different from other musicians. I think in brief I can say that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right. if you were to speak to 5 people,
Yeah.
historical figures, dead or alive, 5 people who are iconic figures to you, who would it be?
Wow, that's a that's a good one. I think number one, I would talk about Dr. Miles Munro. The man inspired me.
Director Gibson is also there.
Dr. Miles Munro was just one amazing person.
He was.
Man
lived beyond his
exactly.
time.
He lived beyond his time.
The things that he was addressing in the 1900s,
we're
experiencing them now, and you're like, how did he know?
Yeah, but Miles Munro was just one ton of wisdom,
Right.
He's just an amazing guy. I would also like to talk to, there's this guy called John Hagee. I don't know if you know him. He's an American preacher. He's a pastor of Cornerstone Church. He's just brilliant, and he knows God. I love him a lot. I'll talk to Oliver Ntukudzi. Yeah, I'll talk to Oliver Ntukudzi. The late Wambali. Yes, I'll talk to the late Wambali Nkandawire. And I think I've got one more slot. I don't know. I've got one more slot.
Who would it be? Who makes the 5th count?
Let me see.
Yeah.
I think I would talk to David Oyedepo. I don't know if you know him.
I know him.
Yeah, I think I would talk to David Oyedepo. So these 5 people.
Amazing.
Yeah.
5 highlights of what you think or believe made you.
Okay. Does this include people as well?
Includes people.
Okay, includes people.
Yeah.
I think the first thing would be my encounter with Christ. Getting saved was something that made me. Because if I wasn't saved, I wouldn't be here. I guarantee you that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be in this place.
Yeah.
So I think getting saved really made my life. And secondly, also, there are some people that I've met. I would like to mention my brother. My brother Chikunda Frankan. He's the one who led me to Christ. And he also is the one who led me to the culture of reading. Reading books.
Yes.
Reading books written by men of God. And that really helped me a lot. Because I think 60%, if I didn't read the books I've read, I would not even be 40% of what I am today. I don't think so. The things that I've said even on this program, if I had not read the books I'd read, I wouldn't be there. So I think meeting Chiku also helped me a lot. And I also thank God also for my wife.
Yeah?
I think, my wife. My wife has been a great source of help.
Yeah.
Talk about music itself. She's the one who discovered my area. I wanted to start taking a certain path, but she said, no, I think you are not this kind of musician. You are this kind of musician. So package yourself this way, and go this way. And also she really helped me to mold me that way. So I'm really thankful to her for that. Yeah, so, and there are many other people, even also my encounter with my pastor right now, because my pastor is Pastor Zach Kawalala.
Yes.
I think he's one person who has also given me passion for my country, as a patriot. So I follow things keenly. I also pray for my country, and I want to make a contribution into my country. And it's working in my own space.
Yeah.
So I think also an encounter with him has helped me a lot. And I think there are many others as well. But
one more left.
Yeah.
One more left.
One more left.
So it was supposed to be 5.
Hey.
5 highlights.
Five.
Your encounter with Christ, your brother, your wife, and Pastor Zach.
Yeah. What is the other encounter?
It could be an experience. It doesn't have to be a person.
An experience.
Yeah.
Okay. I think there was one experience that I'm going to talk about. It was a negative experience.
Okay.
But it kind of like I still remember how God saved me from a certain experience, and that also helps me to believe that I have a destiny.
Right. Right.
You know, there's a purpose that why I'm alive. I'm a big, huge football fan, you know. So I went to a football game. It was a long time ago, 1997. It was a game between Bada Bullets and Wanderers. And at the end of that game, there was a stampede. I was a young person, and I almost died in that stampede because I was, you know, people were throwing stones and there was a lot of violence and people were running. So I was in the midst of that crowd. And unfortunately, as we were trying to make our way out of the stadium, I fell down in the steps as a 10-year-old boy. And people began to stamp on me. And someone fell on my stomach. I couldn't breathe for a considerable amount of time. And I could see life leaving me, you know.
Wow.
But somehow, I don't know, it was a miracle. I got out of that situation and I was in the hospital. I went to the hospital because I think some of my ribs were damaged, something like that. But I came out of that and here I am. So I think it was an experience that also helped me to face myself. And whenever I reflect back to that experience, I always believe that there is a higher calling for my life. So I think it is a negative experience, but there's a good thing out of it because here I am, I'm alive.
Exactly.
Excuse me, I came out of it. So it also helped to shape me in some way.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing. Well, there you have it. John Fire, the walk of fire itself, touching base on several subjects and topics. And he has also promised that on the next episode that we're bringing him, he's going to bring his guitar so that he can perform for us and you guys. So watch out for that one. Thank you so much for being here. It was a very intriguing and exciting conversation. Like you said, your name came because you decided to keep the name the Fire, especially because you believed that you were the John that baptizes by fire. I have been baptized by fire right now.
Wow.
It was so exciting as we were sharing all of those things. So thank you so much for being here. We hope to have another one very soon with you.
Well, I'm very glad. I'm very thankful. I appreciate the fact that you invited me and gave me this opportunity, and I'm looking forward to the next episode. Thank you very much.
Awesome.
Great.
So, as you guys heard, John Fire is an artist, he's a musician. Actually, he's a really, really amazing musician. And if you want to check him out, just go in the description below. The links are there.